All right, everyone, welcome back to the land of Chem. I am your host and the author. My name is Jeffrey Drum. Thank you all so much for joining me again. All right, everyone, welcome back. This is episode 129, and today I will be presenting my hypothesis about the function of the Luxor temple, which utilizes the exact same electric field-based physics that are embodied within the function of the Egyptian pyramids. If this is the type of content you're interested in regarding the ancient technology of a lost civilization, utilizing physics and chemistry, and the operation of the Egyptian pyramids and other ancient structures from across the world, this is the channel for you. So please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube, and don't forget to click that little notification bell so that you do not miss the new episodes that premiere twice per week. Please like, comment, share, and stay tuned if you want to help support this channel and get access to exclusive research and unreleased footage you will not see anywhere else. Check out the members-only channel and thelandofchem.com if you want to pick up a copy of the book or grab some merch. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is @thelandofchem. Also, don't forget, after you finish watching this video, please go subscribe to our two new channels here on YouTube, Egyptian Trash Cats for all you cat lovers out there, and Egypt Eats for Food Reviews. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you all so much for the support. I think that is it for today's intro, so without further ado, let's get right to it. And just a quick reminder, the second 2024 Land of Chem Ancient Alchemy and Ascension Tour is on, and bookings are still available. If you are interested in coming to Egypt to see the pyramids for yourself, including special permission access to Abu Sir and a private entry into all three chambers of the Great Pyramid of Giza at night during this epic adventure experience coming up in early winter later this year, please send me an email to contact@thelandofchem.com with the subject line Egypt Tour 3, and I will send you the full tour itinerary and pricing details. Thank you all so much, and I will see you soon here in the Land of Chem. All right, everyone, here we go with tonight's episode. Now, to begin, I need to define a few terms to ensure the clarity of the explanations that will be presented in the upcoming series of episodes, specifically regarding these temple structures, the obelisks, and the Sphinx Avenue components. First, let's start with electric current. So electric current is any movement of electric charge carriers. Furthermore, electric current is the rate of flow of electrons in a conductor. Some materials allow the current to move better than others. Based on the ability of the material to conduct electricity, materials are classified into conductors and insulators. Conductors. These materials allow the free flow of electrons from one particle to another. Conductors allow for charge transfer through the free movement of electrons. The flow of electrons inside the conducting material or conductor generates an electric current. The force that is required to drive the current flow through the conductor is known as voltage. Some examples of conductors: the human body, aqueous solutions of salts and metals like iron, silver, and gold, with silver being the best conductor of electricity. On to insulators. Insulators are materials that restrict the free flow of electrons from one particle to another. The particles of the insulator do not allow the free flow of electrons. Subsequently, the charge is seldom distributed evenly across the surface of an insulator. Examples of insulators being plastic, wood, and glass. So one important point is that stone is not a conductor of electricity. It is an insulator or a dielectric material, and it will only allow an electric current to flow under a very specific circumstance that I will get to in just a moment. Next, some of the prerequisites for the electric current to flow in a conductor are discussed here. The circuit includes an energy source, a battery, for instance, or in our case, lightning, the power source of these circuit systems, which produces voltage. Without voltage, electrons move randomly and are undirected, hence current cannot flow. Voltage creates pressure on the electrons, which channelizes them to flow in a single direction. Okay, next. Moving on to electric fields. So an electric field is an electric property associated with each point in space when charge is present in any form. Furthermore, an electric field is also described as the electric force per unit charge. Electric fields are usually caused by varying magnetic fields or electric charges. The direction of a field is taken as the direction of the force which is exerted on the positive charge. The electric field is radially outwards from the positive charge and radially inward toward the negative charge. So an electric field is a radiating field associated with a specific point where charges exist. In our case, the electric field induced within our stone components by an electric current, which brings me to the next definition. Dielectrics. So what is a dielectric? A dielectric is an insulating material or a very poor conductor of electric current. When dielectrics are placed in an electric field, practically no current flows in them because, unlike metals, they have no loosely bound or free electrons that may drift through the material. Instead, electric polarization occurs. The positive charges within the dielectric are displaced minutely in the direction of the electric field, and the negative charges are displaced minutely in the direction opposite to the electric field. This slight separation of charge, or polarization, reduces the electric field within the dielectric. Another definition of dielectric material is a non-conducting substance that holds electrical charges. So these unique materials have the capacity for storing the radiating electric fields that are associated with these electrical charges at that specific point. Next, some dielectric characteristics. When a dielectric is placed in an electric field, the electric charges do not flow through the material. Electric charges slightly shift from their average equilibrium positions, causing dielectric polarization. Dielectric polarization causes positive charges to flow in the direction of the field and negative charges to shift in the opposite direction of the field. This phenomenon yields an internal electric field. Electric susceptibility gives the measure of how easy a dielectric material can be polarized when placed in an electric field. So in this example here, when the current is moving from left to right, the negative charges shift toward the left and the positive charges shift toward the right. This shift in charges is what creates the electric field within the material. But like I just said a moment ago, there is a very specific circumstance where your dielectric material will conduct electric current, a phenomenon known as dielectric breakdown. So in electronics, electrical breakdown or dielectric breakdown is a process that occurs when an electrically insulating material, a dielectric, subjected to high enough voltage, suddenly becomes a conductor and current flows through it. All insulating materials undergo breakdown when the electric field caused by an applied voltage exceeds the material's dielectric strength. The voltage at which a given insulating object becomes conductive is called the breakdown voltage, and in addition to its dielectric strength, depends on its size, shape, and the location on the object at which the voltage is applied. Electrical breakdown may be a momentary event, as in an electrostatic discharge, which is exactly what we would have with the electrostatic discharge from lightning strikes, or may lead to a continuous electric arc if protective devices fail to interrupt the current in a power circuit. Furthermore, electric current is a flow of electrically charged particles in a material caused by an electric field, usually created by a voltage across the material. A material that has a high concentration of charge carriers available for conduction, such as a metal, will conduct a large current within a given electric field, and thus has a low electrical resistivity. This is called an electrical conductor. A material that has few charge carriers, such as glass or ceramic, will conduct very little current with a given electric field and has a high resistivity. This is called an electrical insulator or dielectric. So to simplify that entire explanation, what is dielectric breakdown? Electrical breakdown or dielectric breakdown is a long reduction in the resistance of an electrical insulator when the voltage applied across it exceeds the breakdown voltage. This results in the insulator becoming electrically conductive. All right, I know that is a lot of sciencey science and probably more physics than you had anticipated learning today. But these terms are critical in understanding the hypotheses that I will be presenting in the next several episodes. So now, let's take a look at an example of how these terms are applicable within the ancient stone circle system at Avebury. As presented in Members Only Episode 6, the function of the Avebury Serpent Temple Complex, which you can see here. And that episode is quite possibly the best research video that I have ever produced. So when lightning struck the obelisk, or standing stone, at the center of this primary concentric circle, the voltage capacity of the dielectric stone material was exceeded, instantaneously transforming the system into a conductor that distributed electric current into the chalk bedrock below the structure, which is also a dielectric material. So this central component was immediately transformed into a distributor of high voltage electric current across the system. That electric current was transformed as it passed through the Beckhampton and West Kennet Stone Avenue conduits from an extremely high voltage into a much lower voltage by the time it reached the sanctuary, thus bringing the voltage to within the dielectric capacity of this head end of the Serpent Temple complex, enabling the dielectric materials to effectively store the electric field inside of this component of the system. And this is exactly what was happening in Luxor, with the Karnak and Luxor temple system, which you can see here, are also connected via a stone conduit or avenue of sphinxes, with Karnak being your high voltage distributor, the Sphinx Avenue functioning as a step-down transformer to reduce the voltage, and the Luxor temple as a dielectric ultrasound transformer. And it just so happens that right out in front of the Luxor temple, there are two obelisks, only one of which remains today. But those of you on the members only channel already know the function of this dual pillar system, which was intentionally placed at the end of the Sphinx Avenue conduits, but before the entrance into the structure, which was critical in protecting the temple component. And I'll be doing a full episode discussing the dual obelisk, standing stone, or pillar systems coming up soon. So now that we have the electric current being distributed along the Avenue of Sphinx's conduit system from the Karnak Temple into the Luxor Temple, where the voltage was much lower and within the dielectric capacity of these stone materials, so that the electric field could then be stored and transformed within this structure, specifically inside of a component known as the Holy of Holies. And now I'll put in a clip here from Sunday Site Visit 55 so you can see this staggeringly powerful area of the temple complex for yourself.
Okay. We have now entered the sanctuary area. And we are going to cross through the head end of the temple in search of the Holy of Holies.
I'm waiting for you outside.
Thank you. Thank you.
And here is the piece that I was looking for. This piece right here. I remember finding this piece during my last and first expedition to Luxor, that is embedded of the foundation of the Holy of Holies. And I find this nomenclature of Holy of Holies particularly interesting because this is the same description that is utilized for the inner sanctum of King Solomon's temple, the Holy of Holies, the head end of the temple, which is located approximately where the third eye would be within a human being. So again, Luxor is known as the Temple of Man, with the feet being near the entrance, the main columns that we cross through being the body of the man, and here we are standing within the head, in the divine seat, the Holy of Holies, inside of this temple. And I knew that there was something very special about this piece of stone. This is not limestone, this piece here. And I think they left it poking out intentionally. I would almost bet that that is a piece of white calcite crystal, otherwise known as alabaster.
Can you just...
And I can tell you, just standing in here, that the sensation inside of this area of the temple is very different from what I've experienced walking up in this direction. Powerful stuff. All right, so we just walked out of the area of the temple that's known as the Holy of Holies. And I can tell you that when you cross the threshold from being in this doorway, when you walk out of there, it's a completely different physiological experience standing within that portion of the temple compared to the remaining areas of the structure. It's a pretty wild sensation. And of course, we're going to walk back there here in just a minute. Shukran. It's okay, colo quiet. Exterior of the structure here. I don't know if I mentioned, but the Luxor temple is literally directly adjacent to the Nile River. So this structure would have also had a harbor area where you could dock at the harbor and easily access the site. But as we know, this also implies connection with moving water. So again, if there is a more ancient area of this structure, let's say the most subterranean portion of this site, indicated by that piece of calcite crystal embedded in the floor in the Holy of Holies, and then they built the rest of this structure on top of it, there certainly may be more functional components involved in this structure than the above ground portions that you can see today. And as you can see here, almost sunset. It's the golden hour. And once again, I've lost my wife. Let's see if we can.
What's your step?
All right, there we go. Do the ancient Odysseys, land of Chem, Inception. I was going to say we're.
Oh, filming each other. Inception.
All right, so let's walk back through the Holy of Holies one more time, and then I think we're gonna find somewhere to go watch this sunset, because tonight is our first night in Luxor, and you know, we just want to hang out and enjoy the rest of the site. You know, of course, people walk through here and they have no idea really what they're looking at. All right, yeah, so let's walk around the exterior here. Okay, so you can see here that there is a self-contained chamber within this exterior chamber. Again, very indicative of what we see in the Temple of King Solomon. With the inner sanctum, the Holy of Holies, being a secluded area, self-contained within the rest of the temple. Now, I'm not suggesting that this portion of the structure is older or functional, but perhaps the area upon which it was constructed may be. Because it looks like all of this, and you can kind of see it's a bit of a madhouse in here right now. But again, this is located directly in the third eye of the structure. Again, that divine seat, the Holy of Holies, of course, the most powerful area of the structure. And you can feel it in here. And of course, they built this area of the temple around the oldest and most sacred area of the original site, the older site. The evidence of which you can see here. Amongst all of this unfortunate restoration. All right, ladies and gentlemen, for now, that concludes part 1 of our expedition to Luxor. I'm pretty sure we're going to walk back through, might get some additional footage on the way out, but I just want to say, as always, thank you all so much for the support, and stay tuned. We have a lot of exceptional content coming up very soon.
All right, now that you've seen the oldest and most powerful area of the Luxor temple, how did it work and what was it used for? Let's go back to the research of Schwaller de Lubitz and the temple in man, showing that the design of the Luxor temple perfectly emulates the divine proportions of man, indicating that this site was intended for the interface between the temple structure itself and its patrons. And he describes the Holy of Holies as being located at the mouth of the temple. At this point, I shouldn't even have to go into any further detail, as any of you who have been following my work know that when we have red granite and electric fields, we have ultrasound. This fits perfectly with the design of the temple, as within the mouth of the structure, we have the production of sound, this regenerative ultrasound. So as I mentioned in Sunday Site Visit 61 regarding the Central Pyramid Valley Temple in Giza, one function of these temple structures is for the production of ultrasound for therapeutic applications. So for a quick overview of how this works within the human body, when a tissue is exposed to ultrasound, sound waves cause a micro vibration within the tissue. This vibration creates heat energy that increases blood flow to the area. This increased blood flow causes increase in oxygen and chemicals that are essential for healing the damaged tissue. As well as increasing blood flow, ultrasound has the additional effect of speeding up the transport of chemicals from the blood into the damaged tissue to aid the healing of the tissue. This helps with building of new tissue and also helps to ensure proper alignment of the tissue fibers to ensure full strength and flexibility is restored. The end result is that ultrasound helps the body to heal and build new tissue in the quickest and most effective way possible. And if you're interested in learning more about ultrasound therapy, just give it a Google, and you will find hundreds of articles discussing various applications for this type of treatment. Now, I also mentioned in Sunday Site Visit 61 that these temples were designed to accumulate negative ions. So what is a negative ion and where do we find them? Let me quote here. An atom or molecule that does not have the same amount of protons and electrons is referred to as an ion. An ion that carries more electrons than protons is referred to as a negative ion. An ion that carries more protons than electrons is referred to as a positive ion. Negative ions are molecules floating in the air or atmosphere that carry a negative electric charge. Also called anions, they are naturally generated in nature in various settings, some of which include when the air is charged after a lightning strike or thunderclap. Oh, really? You mean like during the lightning and thunderstorms that occurred by the generation of cumulonimbus clouds as presented here on the land of Chem? So during these storms, the naturally occurring negative ions were attracted to the Luxor temple in a process resembling something like this. So here we have the dielectric foundation of the temple floor or the pillars. The electric current flowing in this direction, causing dielectric polarization, as explained at the beginning of the episode, resulting in a shift of the positive charges in the direction of the current flow. The white horse, cumulonimbus storm clouds in the area, generating negative ions in the air, which are then attracted toward the positively charged surfaces of the Luxor temple, accumulating these powerful negative ions within the body of the Temple of Man structure, which provide a vast array of therapeutic benefits for the patrons of the temple. And I'll quote here, specifically this excerpt here, a 2018 meta-analysis of 100 years of reports and studies found that negative ion therapy leads to allergy relief, helps regulate sleep patterns and mood, reduces stress, boosts immune system function, increases metabolism of carbohydrates and fats, or kills and inhibits the growth of harmful bacteria, viruses, and mold species. And once again, I'm not going to go in depth on all of the research papers. Just Google it, negative ion therapy, and you will find more than you could ever want to know. So ladies and gentlemen, the Luxor Temple is a site that was designed to harness electric fields, transform them into ultrasound within the mouth of the temple, the Holy of Holies, and also to accumulate negative ions for the healing interface between the structure itself and the people who went inside of it. It was literally the temple in man. All right, everyone, that's it for today's video. This was episode 129, the function of the Luxor Temple. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and in this week's exceptional Sunday site visit, we return to investigate the Bent Pyramid in Dashur. If this is the type of content you're interested in regarding the ancient technology of a lost civilization utilizing physics and chemistry, and the function of the Egyptian pyramids and other ancient structures from across the world, this is the channel for you. So please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube. Don't forget to click that little notification bell, like, comment, and stay tuned if you want to help support the channel. Check out thelandofchem.com and the Land of Chem members only section, link in the video description below. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is @thelandofchem. Also, don't forget, after you finish watching this video, please go subscribe to our 2 new channels here on YouTube, Egyptian Trash Cats, for all you cat lovers out there, and Egypt Eats for Food Reviews. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you all so much for the support. I think that is it for today's episode, so I will see you next time.
Yo, are you still watching this? Please subscribe to the Land of Chem here on YouTube and click that little notification button. New videos coming out every single week. And check out this other episode. Come on, do it. Do it now.